This is the brand new OnePlus 15 in the beautiful sandstone finish, and yes, it looks just as insane in person as it does on the website. I've had some early hands-on time with it, and so today we're doing a first look at design, specs, camera performance, and of course that new Sandstorm Edition finish. So sit back, relax, and stay tuned, and let's have a first look at the OnePlus 15. So the Sandstorm finish is OnePlus leaning fully into their signature feel something design philosophy of the old days. I think it's a modern callback to the old sandstone finishes that fans still miss from the original OnePlus One, but taken to a premium, almost flagship art piece. So it just feels amazing. The texture's great. It doesn't feel like a normal flagship back or glass phone. The back isn't just textured, it has the micro-granular, desert-inspired matte surface that shifts subtly under light. And I'll show you some shots of this. I think it looks amazing, particularly when you get it under a nice bright light. It looks great. It's very grippy and it's fingerprint proof, and honestly it makes even every glossy phone I've ever used just feel really boring. So I think I'm a big fan of this colour. I think it looks fantastic. So the OnePlus 15 feels incredibly solid, and it's available in 3 different colours. So it's available in black, which is infinite black they call it, Sandstorm, and ultraviolet. All 3 look great. So the Sandstorm is the one I chose, and we've got a very lightweight alloy frame underneath it, a flat front which is no longer curved, makes it a lot easier to apply glass screen protector, so thank you OnePlus. Slightly curved rear edges for comfort. It just feels nice to hold, because sometimes the square phones feel quite almost like sharp on the side. They're not obviously not sharp, but they feel like sharp in your hands. It gets a bit fatiguing holding it for a long period of time. So the lightweight alloy frame is great because the phone feels so light. It feels like a lightweight, much lighter weight flagship phone than I've ever used. So the Oppo X9 Pro is what I've been using over the past couple of weeks, and that feels quite heavy compared to the OnePlus 15, even though it's based probably on the same internals in some ways. I know it's different in terms of its Snapdragon 8 Elite, but we'll have share some similarities because they are sister companies. The camera module is quite nice as well. So it's now no longer circular. It's gone to the square design of the Oppo X9 Pro, and I think it looks great. I'm a big fan of the new design. What do you think? Do you like the new design, or do you prefer the old design of OnePlus yesteryear? But I think it looks more modern. I think it looks cleaner, and I think it just looks very premium finished. It has the classic OnePlus silhouette, clean, symmetrical, and purposeful, but this time with a bolder texture and more industrial vibe to it, I would say. That's how I kind of would describe it. So the alert slider is now gone. Did you love it or did you hate it? I wasn't a big fan. I didn't think it was a particularly important aspect to the phone. It's just given us an action button on the side now, which I think works perfectly. So the display this year is ridiculous. OnePlus have really pushed the boat out. They're giving us 165Hz, 6.78-inch LTPO panel. So it's very similar size to last year, but we've now got 160Hz refresh rate, which is the highest refresh rate I've seen in a non-gaming focused phone. So most phones are 120Hz, and we've got Red Magic phones sometimes go up to 160Hz, 65Hz for gaming. And it feels very responsive and particularly good for playing games, which OnePlus do market heavily. That is a gaming focused phone now. We've got super bright peak brightness on it, ultra thin bezels like on the Oppo X9 Pro, and scrolling is buttery smooth as expected on the screen with its amazing refresh rate, which you can change. You can put it on 120Hz and 165Hz. I've tried both, and you do notice a slight difference with that high refresh rate. Obviously it will drain the battery quicker, and I'll report back when I'll leave it in the 165Hz mode, and I will report back on how it affects battery life. So animations look great on the Oxygen OS. Even outdoors, this thing is extremely visible. If you care about display quality, then this is easily one of the highlights of this phone. This display looks amazing so far. Now, the camera system. This is where things start to look a bit bad. Hasselblad branding is gone, and all the usual Hasselblad filters too. What a shame. I was so looking forward to the new OnePlus 15 with its amazing camera system. Well, the camera hardware is all new, but this is using downgraded sensors and lenses from last year. Why, oh why OnePlus are we doing this? I thought at first. But hang on a sec. The OnePlus 13 wasn't the best camera system on the market either. It did have the Hasselblad camera system branding, but actually it wasn't as amazing as it was made out to be at first. I found this when I had it right back from the launch in January, and then I got it again in August, and actually through many software updates I found the phone had gone from strength to strength, and the phone and the colours and everything looked more natural and looked great. So I was particularly keen to see how I kind of saw how the camera system developed on the phone. So it had good hardware, but the software was a bit lacking at first, and it got developed more. So I think the hardware is important, but the software can be more important. This is where OnePlus are going with the OnePlus 15. So they're giving us a new Detail Max engine on their camera system, which is meant to give us more natural looking images that are less processed and produce more more lifelike images. It's a similar idea to what Google Pixel are doing with their phones. So they're not focusing on the hardware upgrades, they're giving us the same hardware every year, or downgraded hardware to change hardware, but they're really upping their processing engines to make it look better. So we've got 3 lenses on the phone, the same as last year: ultra wide, wide and telephoto, and they're all high res lenses. Early shots I've taken so far, and this is very early review because I've only had it a day the phone, so it looks very good. The images look more natural than the OnePlus 13 and less processed, and also actually better than I thought. So exactly what OnePlus are going for with that Detail Max engine. Colours are more vibrant on shots than colours are more vibrant on some shots than the OnePlus 13, but also a little more accurate in some ways. I'll need more time to test it out, and I'll keep testing that telephoto. But I took some macro shots as well of the frozen leaves this morning outside. And I particularly thought the detail was quite good on the camera system. I thought the colours were good and the detail looked very good as well, and the definition on the background looked quite good. And that was all taken on the 12 megapixel point and shoot mode, just as you get out of the box when you put the phone on. So no testing on the more sort of pro features on the phone. It does have some pro features. It has a pro mode on it and some other things which we'll go into in the detail review later on. So performance inside the OnePlus 15 it's running the new Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, which has to be said to be one of the fastest chips in the market, paired with the fastest RAM and the fastest storage. So it's the fastest phone OnePlus has ever shipped, and OnePlus always gives us high performance CPUs with high performance memory and lots of memory to play with, lots of RAM. They're known for giving us flagship performance at a lower price point in terms of the CPU, and it doesn't disappoint so far. So available in 256GB and 512. This is the 512 because they're doing launch offers at the moment where you get the 512 for the same price. You feel the speed immediately using the phone. I found that apps load faster. So the OnePlus 13 is no slouch. The Snapdragon 8 Elite and the OnePlus 13 is a fast chip, but this just feels even faster in some ways. It just seems to load apps really quick. Gaming performance feels faster, frame rates feel faster, but this thing runs hot. So I was running some games last night and the phone around the edges got really warm. It just cooked around the edges. It didn't seem to throttle too much or in any way. I didn't notice any throttling, but I'm going to keep an eye on this because if this thing, another reviewers have reported this as well, if this thing is running that hot, I don't see it. It has got a new vapor chamber in it, which is meant to keep the chip cooler. If it's running that hot, how is it not going to thermal throttle? And where are we going to see that key performance increase that we need on a flagship year-on-year phone? I don't know. So I'm going to keep testing this phone and I'll let you know what my findings are when I report back. So I'll keep testing on demanding apps and see how the phone performs and whether any throttling happens. So battery and charging then. It wouldn't be a OnePlus phone without wild charging speeds and a huge battery and some headline grabbing figures. So we're getting upgraded 120 watt SuperVOC charging, and it does charge that fast. I've tried it out, very quick. 50 watt wireless charger. Yes, the wireless charger, I've never been a fan of it, but let me know if you are. Battery life, 7,300 milliamp battery, very similar to the Oppo X9, but we'll need a few days. I'll need a few days to really judge it, but so far this thing seems like a battery beast. And of course, on software, we've got Oxygen OS 16, which is very similar to Color OS 16 in a lot of ways on the Oppo, but does have some key differences, which I'll show you. I'll demo it and show you some key differences. It also feels very clean, fluid, and thankfully still lightweight. Animations look very polished. Widgets actually are useful, and the whole UI feels modern without being bloated. It's got great multitasking features on it too. I've used these quite a few times. I particularly enjoy using the multitasking on Color OS and also on Oxygen OS. So big fan of Oxygen OS. I think it looks very good. So the Sandstorm experience on the OnePlus 15, I have to say, is the star of the show, I think, because of this beautiful finish. I know I'm banging on about it. I just love it. It's not slippery. It's not glossy, and it's just not boring. So a lot of flagship phones these days all look the same with their glass backs, but the OnePlus 15 looks so different. And OnePlus are great at giving us different design phones. It feels like a premium, rugged texture that I actually want to touch and use. So I really don't want to slap a case on this. So I'm thinking about using it caseless, but I hate using my phones caseless because I know I'm going to end up dinting it and scratching it, and it will end up looking rubbish. So I'm going to use it I've got the Aramid fiber case from OnePlus, which look great. But I think it's the closest phone I've ever had to using it caseless, and it's also the closest phone that OnePlus have ever made to bring it back to the old yesteryears of OnePlus's heritage, and I think that's great as well and gives the phone an extra edge in the market. So first impressions, the OnePlus 15 Sandstorm are better than I thought actually. The cameras seem a bit better than I thought, and And the speed of the phone feels great with that new finish. It looks amazing. It feels beautiful, fast, and the design actually stands out in a sea of lookalike flagships. However, the phone does run hot so far from early testing, and the cameras are technically a downgrade hardware-wise. So can it really call itself a true flagship phone? I'm going to be putting it through its paces over the next few weeks before delivering my final verdict and hands-on real-world experience. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to test this phone out for the week, as I've said. I'm also going to compare it to some of the Oppo X9 Pro, and also I'm going to compare it to the S25 Ultra. I know the S26 Ultra is coming out soon, but the S25 is still available now, and I haven't got anything else to compare it to. I'm also going to compare it to the 17 Pro Max iPhone, which I use in the studio recording on. Because this phone is a couple of £100 cheaper, because it starts at a price of about £900 when it's not on offer. I picked it up for about £749 on offer, so it's a good price for a flagship phone. So thank you for watching. Please do like, subscribe and comment, and we'll speak to you next time. And let me know if there's anything you would like me to test on this phone, like cameras, battery, gaming, anything like that. Just drop me a comment down below and I'll try and include it in the review when my final verdict when I publish it. So thank you again, and I'll speak to you next time.